I made a video a few years ago going over the retro video game market, and in that video I talked about my problems with the hobby. But since then, a lot has changed, and now in 2025 things are very different, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So for starters, the big thing to remember was that back in 2020 with COVID, there was a massive boom in pricing for a lot of consumer items, especially video games. Looking at this graph, we can see the spike in pricing caused by people having both more money and time. Coupled with video game collecting becoming more mainstream and constant YouTubers hyping up the hobby, it was really only a matter of time before prices started getting crazy. People who had never really cared much about video game collecting now started becoming interested, and many began chasing after the rare and expensive games on older consoles. Rule of Rose on the PS2 is always a good example of this, as that game is not good at all, but it still fetches over $1,000 Canadian at the time of this recording, which is pretty insane when you think about it, because to me, this game, like many other harder to find titles, is simply a hype piece that people collect just to show off. And you know, I'm guilty of that mentality myself, as a while back, I bought Zombie Barbecue on the DS because it was a game I had convinced myself into wanting solely due to how rare and expensive it was. Yet after making that purchase, it really did open up my eyes on why having a budget is so important and how to be more realistic with the amount I was spending in general. I look at YouTubers like JRPG Life who encourage people to game hunt on a budget while still going for quality over quantity, and I feel like that mentality has become a lot more popular over the past couple years as high prices have forced people to start trying games that aren't just your typical old school Pokemons or Marios. The idea of buying just the most popular games has slowly become less popular, and it seems the people who did that kind of thing during COVID have slowly trickled out of the hobby and are now moving towards things like the Pokemon trading card game. It's usually the same kind of people you'd often find in the sneakerhead community who have now set their sights on Pokemon cards, because that's what video game collecting became in 2020. It was no longer about the games themselves, but rather about how rare or expensive they were. With the high volume of YouTube videos, people at home with free time and money during COVID, and the resurgence of popularity in video games in general, the price increase in the retro gaming market now makes a lot more sense. And as these prices moved upwards, so did the mentality of the hobby, which I feel has changed for the better, and that has a lot to do with YouTubers and the consumers themselves. It's pretty clear nowadays that people within the gaming hobby have gotten kind of fed up with people like Phoenix Resale. Now for a little context, Phoenix Resale is a reseller YouTuber who is best known for entering conventions early and buying up all the inventory, and then also using Amazon to sell his video games for way over their market value. He basically embodies what is wrong with the hobby, and within the past few years, more and more people have started to speak out against this kind of behavior. One of those key people being Heckin' Steve, who is slightly controversial depending on who you talk to, but regardless is a passionate person when it comes to video game collecting, and I really do think that him and others within the community provide a very strong message about enjoying the hobby itself and not just always seeing it as an opportunity to turn a quick profit or fill up your shelf. I feel the overall mentality that people have for the video game collecting hobby has gotten a lot better in recent years, and it's only going to improve as people continue to speak out about the negatives and provide advice on how to collect, which is exactly what you want. Which leads me into the final part of this video on why now is a better time than any to jump back into video game collecting. The reasoning for this is based on a few upsides, with the first one being pricing stability. The past few years have been pretty turmoil, and now things are finally starting to settle down, which means you don't have to worry as much about price drops as it seems less people are currently buying, which ties into the second upside, and that's physical availability. Less people buying means there's more to go around, and that increase in availability means you can get some decent deals and you stand a good chance at finding what you're looking for out in the wild. And speaking of what you are looking for, now is one of the best times to start buying games for certain consoles, which is my third upside. Systems like the PlayStation 4 and Wii are still very affordable, and they offer games that you can't find anywhere else. But again, it's always important to remember to collect what you actually want to play, as you might have a complete N64 set, but if you don't actually like the system, then what was the point of collecting it at all? So it's best to always go for what you like and ignore the hype that you see online, as gaming is not just about numbers and rarity, but also about playing the games and enjoying them. And well, that is where I'm going to end things off for now. I could go on and on about this topic, but I really did try and condense some of my key thoughts into this video, and I tried to avoid making a long-winded rant. I haven't made a discussion video in quite some time, so I thought it would be fun to just do a small one, as this topic has been on my mind for a while now. But as always, I'm sure I missed some stuff, so if you have any ideas or suggestions, I'm always happy to read them down in the comments below, regardless of if they are positive or negative. And with all of that said, I just want to say thank you so much for watching my content. It really does mean a lot to me. I hope you have a great day or night. I will see you very soon. Take it easy.